Hello, and let's get on with it. Thralls, defensive thralls, and where to get them. Let's start with the map. The best thralls you're gonna get are in Volcano, Voteries. They got the most HP, and they all got plus 40% melee damage. Next is the Mounds of the Dead and Cimmerians, Forgotten Tribe. They got second best Volcano and plus 30% melee damage. Next is the new Ostergard, Heirs of the North. They got decent amount of HP and plus 20% melee damage. After these, you can get the Relic Hunters with plus 10% melee damage, or the Lemurians with also plus 10% melee damage. Except for tribe, melee damage also depends on the tier of the thrall itself. Tier 1 thralls would get plus 20% melee damage. Tier 2 thralls would get plus 40% melee damage. Tier 3 would get plus 60%, while Tier 4 would get plus 80%. Now, on top of that, archers Tier 1 don't get any bonus to melee damage and no bonus to archer damage. Tier 2 archers get no bonus to melee damage and 5% bonus to arrow damage. Tier 3 archers get no bonus to melee damage and 10% bonus to archery damage. And Tier 4 archers get no bonus to melee damage and plus 20% bonus to accuracy damage. Now, these are all on top of the tribe and tier based damage I mentioned earlier. Fighters don't get any additional archery damage bonus, but tier 1 fighters will not get any melee damage bonus, but tier 2 will get 10%, tier 3 will get 20% damage bonus, and tier 4 fighters get additional 30%. So, say a guaranteed Lemurian T4 fighter spawn has got a total of 10% from being Lemurian, 80% for being tier 4, and 30% for being a tier 4 fighter. So that's a total of plus 120% more damage, which is the same as tier 3 fighter from Volcano. That gets 60% for being tier 3, 20% for being tier 3 fighter, and 40% for being a Volcano Voteries thrall. So even though this one will have about 3 times as much HP as the T4 Lemurian fighter, they're doing the same damage, and so these are not exactly useless. Now you're gonna ask, should I get fighters or should I get archers? Well, depends on the situation. In my opinion, generally, fighters are better. And the reason for that is that fighters deal about 85% additional damage, well, 80 to 90% additional damage, melee damage, than archers do. How to equip them efficiently? Well, first of all, don't bother with attribute bonuses. Trials don't get any of that. They don't have attributes as players do, so whether you give them strength armor or survival, it doesn't matter. All that matters for them is the armor value. Don't bother with giving them light armor or just considering if they're better in light or heavy armor. Thralls neither roll or climb, so armor weight is of no importance to them. So just focus on the armor. Get the cheapest armor that you can get with as much armor as possible. My favorites for that is the flawless normal heavy armor, and if you get the T4 armor Fia from Lemurians, you can craft this epic flawless Lemurian medium armor which got about the same armor as the one I've previously shown, but the cost of it is leather and a few twines. And you know, leather, the thing that you throw away when you're producing tar, you can put them into armor and give them to your trolls. Next important bit is the sandstone mask. It works on trolls, so try to give them to them, because so that they don't get gassed with the gas orbs like a bunch of morons. When it comes to weapons, this is one of the cheapest bows to produce, hardened steel bow, and always give them poison arrows, snake arrows. You don't have to put any arrows in the inventory, you just have to make sure that the arrow is, that you drag and select the arrow for the bow so that it's assigned to it. It will keep using the same arrow. For archers, for melee weapon, I would give them daggers, and in this case Kingslayer daggers, because the difference in production cost between these and the standard hardened steel daggers is just a few thick leathers, which you should have in abundance anyway. And why daggers? Well, when they start shooting on the enemy, they will start building up poison stacks, so when they will get closer, they will add bleeding stacks on top of that, which can get the regeneration, like degeneration, really high and put them in a lot of trouble. And daggers build up bleeding, and since archers are not that very good in dealing melee damage anyway, might as well go with daggers. Fighters, however, I still would give them a bow with poison arrows, so that if they can't get to an enemy, they will just shoot him. Unless they're defending a room, like if they're inside a room, then you don't really want to give them bows. You want to rush them. You want them to rush an enemy and group in swarm them really. And one of the best weapons, I think, for a fighter troll is a spear, and in this case a dragonbone spear, because it's really easily obtainable once you know what you're doing. And another thing is, don't really bother giving your trolls shields, and if not shields, then also don't give them one-handed weapons. Spears, hammers, two-handed sword or dagger are best. Now the reason for that is when you put the shield in the offhand of a thrall, it will have it equipped, and once it gets attacked by an enemy, it will use it. It will block. It will be a good use of a shield. But thralls have a tendency to unequip and re-equip their weapons. Once a troll unequips his shield from its offhand, he will not pull it out again. So that would be a waste. Instead of having a good two-handed weapon, he will have a not as decent one-handed one. So don't bother with this. Also, good armor for the trolls, because it's armor without epic version is pretty high. It's flawless Harkanian Raider armor, but you need a very specific armor for that. So if you get that, try to put these on them. You get more armor, about 390 with the sandstone mask on. So this is all I can talk about trolls, and thanks for watching. Bye.